For each participant ID, please use your real name following with your origin of institution. All of participants are expected to mute the audio and only unmute the video during the event. We cordially invite you to take your own firm and comfort seat in your own room and please avoid the backlight. Make sure that you have a good and stable internet connection. If you have an earphone or headset, we recommend you to use it so that your voice can clearly and loudly to be heard. During the Q&A discussion session, all participants, please use the chat box to deliver the questions. Thank you for your cooperation and consideration.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Guest Lecture Series on SDGs today, Tuesday, 16th of March, 2021. I am Oriza from ITAS Global Engagement, and I will be your Master of Ceremony this afternoon. Thank you for joining our Guest Lecture Series on SDGs today. Before we start our agenda, let me inform you of some important information for today's session. First, please fill your attendance at bit.ly/attendance_GLS SDGs. Our committee also sent the attendance link in the Zoom chat room. For participants who wish to get an e-certificate and stamp, please fill the attendance 15 minutes after the session starts. Second, participants who wish to ask questions during the question and answer session, please send your question to intip.in/Q&A/GLS-SDGs. The link is also sent in the chat room. Or you can also ask directly by clicking the raise hand feature. Ladies and gentlemen, this guest lecture series on SDGs is dedicated as a form of appreciation and commemorating the 60th anniversary of the Institut Teknologi 10 November Surabaya. Today's guest lecture brings the theme Fostering Mental Health Wellness amidst the COVID-19 pandemic that will be delivered by our speaker, the Honorable Dr. Benny Soliman from Tarlac Agricultural University, Philippines, and moderated by Dr. Octavianti Dwi Wahyurini, PhD from ITAS. Before we start our agenda, allow me to deliver our schedule today as follows. First, there will be opening. Second, introduction to moderator. Third, lecture session by Dr. Benny Soliman. Fourth, question and answer session. Fifth, certificate awarding. And sixth, closing. Now, before we proceed to the next agenda, let me introduce our honorable moderator. Dr. Octavianti Dwi Wahyurini, ST MFDS Art PhD, is an assistant professor in Visual Communication Design ITAS Department. She is a graduate of ITAS, Curtin University of Technology, and Clemson University, United States of America. She is also the Senior Manager of ITAS Global Engagement Office for Promotion and Mobility, who had experience in becoming the President of Fulbright Fellow and Friends, Clemson University, and Head of Department at Visual Communication Design ITAS. Now, without further ado, let's proceed to the main agenda. To the moderator, Dr. Octavianti Dwi Wahyurini, the time is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Ariza, for your wonderful introductions. Hello, how are you? Good afternoon from Surabaya, Indonesia. I hope everyone doing well and stay safe and healthy during this pandemic. And first of all, I would like to introduce our speaker for today. Our speaker today is Dr. Benny Soliman, RGC ILPT RPM from Tarlac Agricultural University, the Philippines. He earns his Doctor of Philosophy in Psychology at University of Santo Tomas and his Masters of Arts in Education from Tarlac State University and also Psychology for Bachelor degree in Tarlac State University. He has licenses in examination for guidance counselors. He's a board of licensure examination for psychometricians and also licensure examination for teachers. Subjects being taught by him is general psychology, also including the development psychology, Filipino psychology, abnormal psychology, and also theories of personality. Without further ado, I would like to turn this floor to Dr. Benny Soliman. Hello, Dr. Benny. How are you?
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for that kind introduction. I am good. Thank you for having me. Thank you for this opportunity to be part of your GLS on SDGs. So allow me to share my presentation. Okay. Am I audible? Am I loud and clear?
Yes, sir. Can hear you very clearly.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, to all the officials and staff of ITS who are with us right now. Good afternoon, of course, to our dear participants from ITS and around the globe. A pleasant afternoon, and I hope you are all well. I hope you're all doing well, despite all the challenges caused by the pandemic COVID-19. So my task this afternoon is to give you a lecture about one of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal, specifically the SDG number 3, which is about good health and well-being. Specifically, my talk is about fostering mental health wellness amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, this topic is highly relevant. It is very relevant in a sense that we are actually confronted by a very challenging situation, and that situation is COVID-19. So allow me to begin with the rationale of this afternoon's learning session or of this afternoon lecture about mental health. So why do we need to talk about mental health, specifically in this time of health crisis? Primarily because we are confronted by a threat or danger. And that threat or danger is COVID-19. And we know for a fact that COVID-19 affects many aspects of our lives. It affects the way we perform our job. It affects the way our students learn. It affects us economically. It even affects us the way we deal with other people. So in order for the government, or in order to stop the spread of this virus, the government from different countries actually implements different protocols, implement policies. And one of those policies is about community quarantine, or for some, they call it lockdown. And since there is a lockdown, our movements are restricted. Movements are restricted. Schools like ITS, like our school, are not allowed to conduct face-to-face classes. So hence, it can resulting to the so-called new normal in education. New normal in a sense that before, you are required to go to school to acquire knowledge, but this time you are in front of a computer or a gadget to learn. So there is a shift in terms of the way you learn. There is a shift in terms of the way you acquire knowledge. And this new normal, I am sure, is not easy for everyone. Many from students actually experience difficulty adjusting, experience it as a very challenging situation, resulting to stress and anxiety. So this new normal, this COVID-19 as a threat, actually affect our mental health in a negative way, because stress and anxiety are the two most common mental health concerns in this time of health crisis. Hence, there is a real need, there is a high need for us to talk about mental health wellness. In fact, according to the report of the World Health Organization and the Center for Disease Control and Prevention in 2020, COVID-19 is generating stress and anxiety throughout the population. That's according to the report of the World Health Organization. This report is actually similar to some studies conducted from different regions of the world. Studies conducted in Indonesia, China, United States, and even the Philippines indicated that mental distress associated with COVID-19 pandemic is increasing. So this mental distress is true throughout the general population. How about the impact of this pandemic to college students like you, to university students like you? So in one study conducted by Cao and his group and the report from Young Minds in 2020, college students experience anxiety symptoms due to COVID-19 and related factors such as restricted social activities, school closures, and loss of routine. So from these studies from different regions of the world, we can conclude that indeed this COVID-19, this pandemic affected our mental health. That this pandemic is really challenging to the point that it negatively affects our mental health. Hence, we are here talking about mental health. But by the way, what is mental health? We have to start with the basic of mental health. And for us also to avoid some misconception, to avoid some stigma about mental health. So let's define mental health based on the definition given by the World Health Organization. So according to WHO, mental health is a state in which individuals first realize their potentials, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively and truthfully, and able to contribute to the community. That is mental health. So meaning, from this definition, we can say that mental health is a positive state. You are mentally healthy if you are resilient, meaning you can cope with the normal stresses of life. You are mentally healthy if you are productive and truthful. You are mentally healthy if you can form good relationship with other people. So that is mental health. So it is important to take note that when we talk about mental health, it is a positive state. It is a positive state. Another way for us to describe mental health is to think at this as corresponds to our psychological well-being. Again, our mental health corresponds to our psychological well-being, which includes the way we feel, the way we think, and the way we act. Our mental health includes the state of feeling, the state of thinking, and the state of behaving or acting. Okay, so another way to describe mental health is to look at it as a continuum. Look at the diagram here. Okay, the continuum consists of 3 points. This point, extreme side, left side, is the mental health point and considered as the healthy point. Okay, And then for the middle, we have the mental health problems. And the right side is the mental illness or mental disorder. So in one point, which is mental health is considered as healthy point. And this is our target, for us to be mentally healthy. So mental health is a positive state. If you are mentally healthy, you are resilient. If you are mentally healthy, you are happy about your life. You have a satisfying life. That is a mental health state. However, there are many factors that could affect this mental health. And one of those factors is the COVID-19 we're currently experiencing. And because of this COVID-19, some people experience stress and anxiety. And that we consider that stress and anxiety as mental health problems. The middle point is mental health problems like stress and anxiety. And when we are anxious, when we are stressed, if you are not able to manage this well, they can actually lead to mental disorder or mental illness. So that's the continuum. Left side, mental health. Right side, mental illness or mental disorder. So meaning, once we are experiencing mental health problems, our target, our goal is to be mentally healthy and to avoid mental illness, to avoid mental disorder. And probably that's the reason why we are here. Since we are experiencing stress and anxiety because of COVID-19, we do not want to result that into mental disorder or mental illness. So that is the mental health continuum. And as I've said earlier, there are many factors that could affect our mental health. Okay, so one framework I will be presenting to you is the biopsychosocial framework or the biopsychosocial model of health. This model can be used to explain the factors affecting our health in general or specifically affecting our mental health. Okay, bio means biological, psychological, and social factors. So the point of the biopsychosocial framework is that there is no single factor affecting our mental health. There are combination of factors affecting our mental health. I will give you one example. I'm sure you're familiar with the disorder or the illness called depression or major depressive disorder. For example, depression. You are depressed not because of a single factor. You are depressed because of the combination of factors. So if you're going to use the biopsychosocial framework, you are depressed because of the combination of biological, psychological, and social factors. For example, biological. You are vulnerable, genetically speaking. You have genetic vulnerability to develop depression because it runs in the family. There's a family history there is history of depression in the family. So if that's the case, biological factor, you are genetically vulnerable to develop depression. However, it doesn't mean once the family has history of depression, it doesn't automatically mean you're also suffering from depression. Because there are other factors that could trigger that vulnerability. For example, that could trigger psychological factors. Okay? For example, psychological includes your cognition, includes the way you interpret event or the way you interpret situations. If you have the tendency to interpret situation irrationally or in a negative way, that could influence your mental health. And at the same time, you lack social support. That is social factor. You have a weak social support. So my point here is that the biopsychosocial framework states that there are combinations of factors leading to specific mental health condition. There's no single factor. There are many factors. But in the current situation, or in the situation we are currently facing, what we consider the major factor is the health crisis, is the COVID-19. But according to the Interagency Standing Committee, in any health crisis, take note, in any health crisis, it is common for us to feel stressed and worried, to feel stressed and anxious. Common for us, because there is a threat or danger. And that threat or danger is real. It is affecting the world, actually. So there is a real threat. So it is common for us to feel anxious or to feel stressed. However, take note of this. If this stress and anxiety are already overwhelming to the point that you have difficulty performing your usual activities already. For example, you have difficulty sleeping already. You lost your appetite already. So in that case, stress and anxiety are already overwhelming. So you have to recognize that you need some help, that you need to manage your stress and anxiety properly. Okay, so now, yes, stress and anxiety are common because there is health crisis. However, there are also some signs that your mental health or our mental health is already getting bad. Take note of the following signs. The following, I will be presenting some of the warning signs that your mental health is already getting bad. Okay? The first sign is social withdrawal. If you are experiencing social isolation, you tend to isolate yourself from other people, not because of social distancing protocol, social withdrawal even online. Okay, you are hesitant to respond to your invitation, to an invitation from a friend. You are avoiding contact online and offline. That is a warning sign that your mental health is getting bad. Another sign, hopelessness. Another sign that your mental health is getting bad is that you are hopeless about the current situation. You are hopeless about your future. It seems you feel that you are trapped. So that is hopelessness. Another warning sign is sleep disturbance. Before you can manage to sleep for about 7 hours a day, but now you find it difficult to maintain sleep for about 3 or even 5 hours. That is a sign that your mental health is getting bad. And when we talk about sleep disturbance, by the way, it can be hyper or hypo. It could be oversleeping or undersleeping. Okay? Another warning sign is unable to get pleasure, especially of the things you usually do. Before, for example, before you enjoy reading books. Before it is pleasurable, it is pleasurable for you to read books, but now not anymore. Okay, you tend to avoid those activities you previously enjoyed. So that is another sign. Another sign is feeling exhausted by little things. It's like for example, as a student, it's like you are about to start your homework. Unfortunately, you can't even initiate it. Unfortunately, you can't actually start it because you feel so tired. You feel so exhausted. Another sign is difficulty concentrating. Look at the picture. You find it difficult to concentrate. You find it difficult to focus, to pay attention. And appetite disturbance. Appetite disturbance is like it could be overeating or under eating, hypo and hyper, just like sleep disturbance. So those are the warning signs. Those are the warning signs that your mental health is getting bad. Those are the warning signs. Those are the signs that you have to recognize. If you recognize that there is a sign that you are experiencing those signs, then do not ignore them. When you think you have the signs, do not ignore them. Do something about it. I want to compare this. In dealing with mental health, by the way, it is very important that you know that there's something wrong. It is very important that you are aware that there is something wrong with me. That's number one. You have to recognize that for you to do something about it, for you to manage it properly. For example, I want to compare this. I'm sure you have your gadget, you have your phone, you have your laptop, for example. Am I right that if the laptop or your phone is about to be emptied or to be drained, the battery is about to be drained or emptied, am I right that that there is an alert? Am I right that you will hear a warning sign that your laptop or your gadget is about to, the battery is about to drain? There is an alert, there is a warning sign. If you ignore the sign, what will happen to your phone? What will happen to your laptop? Battery empty, battery drained. So you cannot use the laptop because the battery is drained, just like us. If you ignore, just like our mental health, if you ignore the warning signs, it can lead to more serious mental health concern. If you ignore the signs of stress and anxiety, it can actually lead to mental disorder. So now, sir, yes, I recognize that I experienced some of the signs. What is next? It is now time for you to foster mental health wellness. So in here, I will be presenting to you some tips on how to manage stress and anxiety, on how to foster mental health wellness. So I will be presenting to you the model that I personally developed, which is the RACS model in promoting mental health wellness. RACS is an acronym. RACS, letter R stands for relaxation, A for activities, C for cognitive strategies, and letter S for social strategies. So these are the categories. Actually, this model was developed based on different literatures, different studies, and even as a practitioner. And I found this model helpful in promoting mental health wellness. So let's start with letter R, which is relaxation. We need this. The first letter of the RACS model is relaxation strategy. It is actually a quick way of neutralizing stress. Quick in a sense that it is portable. And I'm sure we have different ways on how to relax. But you have to assess, is the way you relax healthy or not? If it's not healthy, avoid doing it. And I will be teaching you healthier way on how to relax. When you engage to some relaxation strategies, the biological or the physiological impact of that is that it can increase level of endorphins, the happy chemical in the brain. It lowers blood pressure, it lowers fatigue, it improves concentration, it even improves quality of sleep. That's why take time for you to relax. Do not be too guilty when you are engaging to some relaxation strategies. You deserve it. You deserve to relax, especially, for example, after doing your school tasks for 5 days, for example, make sure in one day or for some spend some time to relax. You deserve to take a break. All of us deserve to take a break. Consider this session as taking a break, okay? Consider this session as relaxation session, because I will be teaching you one relaxation strategy, which is the calm breathing exercise. Okay, so I will be teaching you the calm breathing exercise. Let me see. You can actually do it. Uh, Maybe I can see you through the video. I think the video of the participants are on. Let's see. I will be teaching you the calm breathing exercise first. Actually, this is the usual inhale, exhale breathing exercise. And I want you to do it because today we want to relax. Because today we want to free ourselves from stress and anxiety. Okay? So for the first step for the calm breathing exercise, sit comfortably with your back, resting against the chair like that. Just just relax. Okay? And then feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. If you are comfortable closing your eyes, better. For me, it is effective when I close my eyes doing the calm breathing exercise. And then we will do the usual breath, inhale, exhale. Okay, but the count is 4 inhale, you have to pause for 2 or 1 second, and then 4 exhale. When you inhale through your nose, pause it for 1 second, and then exhale through the mouth, through your mouth. Let's do it, okay? So 4, inhale. You have to breathe mindfully. Mindfully in a sense that what you are doing now is just to breathe. So you are breathing. You do it mindfully. Leave all your concerns behind. Leave all your concerns behind. What you are doing now is just to relax. That's why you are breathing. Inhale, exhale. You know what? This is ideal when you do it 5 minutes per round and do it twice a day. I know the first time you do it feels like awkward. Yeah, you will experience, oh, it's awkward. No, no, no. At first, yes, you will experience that or you will feel that. But it's like other skills. It can be learned. It can be mastered. So try to do it daily, 5 times. I'm so sorry, 5 minutes each round, twice a day. For example, when you are inside the office, take a break and do a calm breathing exercise. When you feel that you are already stressed, for example, calm breathing exercise. Do it for 5 minutes twice a day. And better if you will do calm breathing exercise with some visualization. Let's do it with some visualization. Same, you are doing the inhale, exhale, and when you do it, make sure you are in a quiet and safe place. Okay, so now while doing the inhale, exhale, you think, imagine of a very calm, very quiet, very safe place for you. Think of that. While doing the inhale, exhale, think of that very calm, very peaceful, and very safe environment. While doing the inhale, exhale, feel it. Describe what it looks like, sounds like, smells like. I think for me, it's personally, it's really effective doing it. So take time for you to do the calm breathing and the visualization technique. And as I've said earlier, just like other skill, it can be mastered. It can be learned. Okay, so that is for visualization technique. And as I've said earlier, we have different ways on how to relax. But make sure your strategy or your way of relaxing is healthy. So now I have here other relaxation strategies you can perform. You can listen to calm and relaxing music. I think this one is effective when you have this difficulty maintaining or sustaining sleep. Listen to calm and relaxing music. Spend time with nature. Read books. If for you reading books is relaxing, then do it. Some engage to some aromatherapy or art therapy. So as I've said, there are many strategies for you to relax. However, you have to make sure that this strategy is healthy. And that is for letter R, relaxation. That's for letter R, relaxation. Let's proceed to the second letter, which is A. Remember, rocks model. R, relaxation, and the next letter is letter A, activities. Okay, these are activities nourishing your physical health. Okay, activities nourishing or helpful in our physical health. Okay, so these activities includes physical activity like regular exercise. You know what? Same as with relaxation, the impact of this physical activities includes it actually boosts our level of endorphins, which is the happy chemical. It reduces fatigue, it improves concentration. Make sure the physical activity is regular. Regular in a sense that it could be daily, or for some, they do it 4 times a week or 3 days a week. So it makes sure it is regular. Remember, you are doing this to nurture your physical health and even your mental health. Not only biologically speaking because of the level of endorphins, but for example, when you are bombarded with many problems, when you are bombarded with unhelpful thoughts, now divert it by doing something physical. Let's get physical. Okay, in fact, 30 minutes of physical exercise can actually boost our mood for 2 hours. Imagine that. 30 minutes of physical exercise. You can do jogging, for example. You can dance, for example. You can swing, for example. Any physical activity. 30 minutes of that physical exercise can boost our mood for 2 hours. Same as with relaxation strategy earlier. At the beginning, you will feel maybe tired for 30 minutes. You are jogging, you are running. You can do it gradually. If you find it difficult, you can do it gradually. For example, for today, your target is 10 minutes. Next day, 20 minutes. Another day, 30 minutes. Until such time that 30 minutes is not difficult anymore. And you are already enjoying that 30 minutes of physical exercise. And then we have to observe good nutrition. Okay, we have to eat leafy vegetables, eat more leafy vegetables and fruits. Avoid caffeine and alcohol. I know some of you who are with us right now are guilty about this. Some of you use caffeine and alcohol as a stress reliever. Do you think that's healthy? Do you think that's healthy? When you are stressed, you drink coffee and you drink alcohol? Okay? So without you knowing, when you drink caffeine or when you drink coffee, when you drink alcohol, when you are stressed, without you knowing, the level of stress and anxiety is actually increasing. The level of stress and anxiety is increasing because of that alcohol. I think some of you even use chocolates. Chocolates as one way of relieving yourself from stress. Chocolates. But dark chocolate is LTS. Dark chocolates, it's good. But the rest of the chocolates that we usually eat, avoid them. They have a temporary effect. That's why there is a tendency for you after eating one bar, you won't have another one because the effect is very temporary. But as I've said, dark chocolates are healthy. Okay? So next, Of course, we have to take enough sleep. We need this and we deserve this. Okay, for 16 to, according to National Sleep Foundation, for 16 to 13 years old, you must have 9 to 11 hours. For 14 to 17, 8 to 10 hours. And I think for some, most of us here, from 18 to 25, we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Okay, so we have to take enough sleep. That is one way. Another way of taking care of our physical health and even our mental health. So that is for activities. We're done. R, relaxation. A, activities. And the next letter is letter C, which is cognitive strategies. Okay. Now we have cognitive strategies. The assumption here is that what we think affects how we feel and how we act. That's the assumption of cognitive strategies. So meaning, it's not the event itself that caused you emotional disturbance. It's the way you think about the event. That's the assumption of cognitive strategies. For you to have a better understanding of this, allow me to present to you the ABC analysis. Again, our assumption is that you are disturbed emotionally because of the way you think of the situation, not the situation itself. That's the assumption. Okay, so we have here the ABC analysis. So meaning, for us to for us to for us to recover from emotional disturbance, we have to correct some of our thoughts, some of our irrational thoughts. Okay, so I have here the ABC analysis. Letter A for activating event, the situation itself, the event itself. For example, you have a cough, for example, cough. And coughing is one of the symptoms of COVID-19. So that's the situation, okay? Now, your belief about that cough is that, oh, maybe I am already positive for COVID-19. That's your belief. You keep on thinking of that. But you are strictly following safety protocols. You are not exposed to somebody who is positive. You are not actually going out, so you are not exposed to other people. But you keep on thinking that probably you have COVID-19. That's your thought. And what's the consequence? Since you are thinking that maybe you are COVID-19 positive, you find it difficult to sleep. That's the consequence. Emotionally, you are disturbed. I can't sleep because I am thinking maybe I have a COVID-19 already. Now, the consequence, you have difficulty sleeping not because of your cough, right? Not because of your cough, but because of the way you think of the situation, because of the way you interpret the cough. So sometimes we have this automatic negative thought. When we experience a situation, any situation, sometimes we have the automatic negative thoughts. So that automatic negative thoughts can actually lead to emotional and behavioral consequences. Hence, there is a need for us to identify if the thought is helpful or not. If the thought is not helpful, if the thought is unhelpful, then challenge the thought. How do we challenge? We question your own thought. Question your own thought. Because that thought is unhelpful. So question it, challenge it, look for evidences. And if there's no evidence, then replace this thought to a more realistic and helpful thoughts. Let us train ourselves to correct our irrational thoughts or our irrational beliefs, because these irrational beliefs or irrational thought can lead to emotional disturbance. So question them, dispute them, challenge them and replace them to something that is more realistic. That is cognitive strategy. Do not believe in everything you think. Okay? So that's for cognitive strategy. And the last letter is social strategies. Letter S, social strategies. Uh, in this time of uncertainty, we have to develop a strong social support. Although all of us are affected by this pandemic, what we have to prioritize is to build strong social support. This time we need each other. This time we need to collaborate with one another because we need each other, especially during this time of pandemic. So what are the social strategies for us to promote mental wellness, mental health wellness? First, look for support from people who make you feel safe and cared for. Look for support from a friend, from family members, from your classmates, and strengthen that support. Because you know what? In this time of pandemic, always remember that you are not alone. You are not alone battling. There are people who are willing to help. Just try to reach out. So that's the first one. You look for support. Next, if you have that support already, talk about your concerns. Talk about your feelings. It's okay to tell somebody that you are not okay. And by the way, it's okay not to be okay. Because we are human. It's okay not to be okay, but don't get stuck. Okay, don't get stuck. So talk about it. Talk about your concerns. Talking about your concerns can actually help you lighten the burden that you are experiencing. Talk about it to your family members, to your friends, to your teachers, to your counselors, and try to keep social activities even if you don't feel like. Because for some people who are overwhelmed by this situation, they find it difficult to engage to some social activities. But you know what? These social activities will help you divert your attention to something that is more meaningful. Of course, when you do social activities, you have to practice social distancing or other protocols implemented, protocols by the government, set by the government, and participate in volunteer work. Yeah. Yes, you are struggling. Yes, you are struggling. But you know what? Even you're struggling, you can even help other people by means of volunteer work. And it could have a positive impact on your mental health. In a way, I have done something for my fellow. I have done something for a less fortunate, for example. Although I am struggling, but I have done something good for my fellow. So that is for social strategies. And that completes the ROCKS model. However, if you are still, sir, I already applied the ROCKS model. Do you need more? I have an additional strategy. We have the ROCKS Go model. It's like ROCKS. The ROCKS model is like a complete package already. The ROCKS model is like a complete meal. It has a dessert, main dish, side dish. However, if you want an additional rice, so we have here Go, gratitude, and optimism. ROCKS Go. G, gratitude, and O, optimism. Gratitude first. When we are overwhelmed, with so many problems, when we are bombarded with so many problems, surrounded by many stressors, sometimes we tend to forget that there are many things that we have to be grateful for. Try to look at those things. I am grateful every day. Actually, when you wake up, it is something to be grateful for. You eat your breakfast, it is something to be grateful for. You're able to accomplish your school task, something to be grateful for. So do not forget to be thankful and grateful for all the things that we have. Yes, we are experiencing challenges. We are experiencing a challenging situation because of this COVID-19 pandemic. But, but there are so many things that we have to be grateful for. That's for gratitude. You know what better if you will be writing your gratitude journal. Every day you have things I am grateful for the day. You start writing, you start writing that. Okay, at least from time to time you can check it. Okay, I experienced challenges, but imagine I have so many things that I have to be grateful for. And another strategy is that optimism. So when we said optimism, uh, let us train ourselves. This is not about toxic positivity. Okay, this is not about toxic positivity because we recognize that this pandemic is really challenging. It has negative impact. However, how about training ourselves to look at the brighter side of everything? How about training ourselves to be optimistic, to be positive, despite all the challenges brought by this pandemic? Try to learn, try to train ourselves looking the brighter side of everything. For example, what did you discover about yourself because of the pandemic? What did you learn? What what skill did you learn because of the pandemic? Try to analyze the situation. What did I discover positive things about me because of this pandemic? That is optimism. For example, for example, some people engage to online selling, but before they don't have any skill in either they don't have marketing skill, but because of the pandemic, they discover that potentiality about themselves. Before uh, you are not so good in using gadget. For example, this is just an example, using computer, but now you are already good in using computer because the school requires you to do online classes, etc. So let us train ourselves to look at the brighter side of everything. So that is the RACS Go model in promoting mental health. Again, R for relaxation, A for activities, C for cognitive strategies, S for social strategies, G, gratitude, and O, optimism, the RACS-GO model. However, what if you already apply all the RACS-GO, okay, but still you experience persistent emotional distress? Now, it is the time for you to seek. It is the right time for you to seek for professional help. For example, you engage to some relaxation strategies for about a month already. You even have physical activities. You have a good social support, but still you're emotionally disturbed. I highly recommend that you seek for professional help. Who are this professional? You can you can seek for the help of your school counselor. You can seek for help of a psychologist or psychiatrist. Okay, nothing wrong with seeking help for this professional. Let us break the stigma. It is okay to seek or to consult a counselor. It is okay to consult a psychologist. It is okay to consult a psychiatrist. Seeking for professional help is not a sign of weakness. It is actually a sign of strength because you are brave enough to admit that there is something wrong and you need help. And you know what? According to the report of the World Health Organization, after COVID-19, the next pandemic is about mental health. Hence, we have to keep in mind that there is no health without mental health. You have to start taking care of your mental health the way you take care of your physical health. And that is all for this afternoon. If you have question, you can use the chat box or the Q&A box. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Benny. Such a very informative, thoughtful, mind-blowing, inspirational talks from you. Thank you so much. Okay, so I would like to invite all the participants who would like to ask questions to Dr. Benny. So I think while we are waiting for the other participants' questions, Dr. Benny, so if we have automotive negative thoughts, is it the part of our defense mechanism?
When we have our automatic negative thought,
Yes.
well, yeah, based on it depends on the defense mechanisms given by some theories. For example, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Freudian defense mechanisms. Yeah, if you're familiar with the Freudian defense mechanism, those defense mechanisms work unconsciously. But these automatic negative thoughts about a situation, most of the time we are conscious about it. That when we experience a situation, when we experience a situation, we are conscious that we think of it negatively.
So would it be connected to the trauma from the past?
We can actually connect it from the trauma from the past. Sometimes you have this automatic negative thought because you experience because of a traumatic experience in the past. You are actually re-experiencing what you experienced in the past. So if that's the case, if the case already involved trauma, we can actually refer that case to a mental health professional already, because there is a lot of processing to be done because it involves traumatic experience in the past.
Okay, very interesting. Is there any questions from anyone? Because I have a lot of questions. So, Dr. Benny, if we witnessed someone like someone that we know showing symptoms of mental illness, what should we do? Sometimes we would hesitate to step into their personal space. Sometimes there's is it okay for me to asking about their situations? We aware that they're not okay. There's something wrong with them. And we would like to approach, but sometimes we really hesitate to step in their personal spaces. So what should we do?
I understand that hesitation to approach somebody, and I also understand that you have the desire to help. It could be a friend, or it could be a family member, it could be a colleague. Okay, what is the best thing to do is to encourage them to talk about their concerns, to help them recognize that they are not alone in their battle. Let them feel that you are there willing to listen. I think that is one thing that you can do. Let them feel that you are there willing to listen. Let them feel that they are not alone. And encourage them in case that person already shared his problem to you. And then if you think they need more help for professional, then refer them to mental health professional. You know what? When sometimes the people who are struggling, it is already beneficial. It is already beneficial when they are aware that there are people willing to listen. That there are people, that there is a social support. That is actually one of their protective factors, if they know that there is a social support.
Yeah, sometimes I think in some culture, they would not, they would keep everything by themselves because I think maybe they think that they thought that it's their own problem. It's not something that's to be shared. Maybe they have like a shame about their conditions, I think. So yeah. Also, how about spiritual help, doctor?
Yeah. Actually, it can also help. Yeah. Of course, we cannot ignore the fact that
Mhm,
we cannot ignore the fact that a spiritual aspect is also important in dealing with the mental health concerns.
Also, would it be like some of the therapy?
Yeah,
Like you said that about relaxation. So would it be similar to like meditations?
meditation, yeah. Meditation, yoga,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's part of relaxation exercises.
I see. Okay. So I think you have mentioned about the symptoms and how we overcome uh those if we have the mental health problem and how to overcome it. And but I also curious, Dr. Penny, is there any types of mental illness?
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Uh,
I often hear about anxiety disorder, bipolar. Maybe would you like to explain to us more?
Yeah, actually, since I have limited time, I think I have 1 hour to talk about the mental health. That's why what I discuss is the mental health in general.
Mhm,
But you know what, Doc Oy, there are a lot of disorders. Actually,
mhm,
100 plus mental, more than 100 mental disorders.
mhm.
Uh, we have the so-called in psychology. We have the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. This includes many mental disorders like depression, anxiety disorders, obsessive compulsive, bipolar 1, bipolar 2, etc. There are a lot.
Yeah, I see. So, and every kind of types of sorry, and every each type of the mental health disorder will have like a very particular
Yeah.
symptoms and traits, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there is also specific or particular treatment for that specific disorder.
See. Okay. So yes. So we have questions here. Um. The questions coming from Ani Mariani. Uh, Ibu Ani Mariani, would you like to ask your question directly, or should I just read from your what you have written?
Please read my question because still in the road.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're driving. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay. Thank you for listening to us, Bu Ani. So her question says, there are some people that still not believe about COVID-19 pandemic and ignoring the protocol. So how to manage our mental health that we must work with them.
Actually, yeah, we can. I think that the best. I think my response to that question is that focus on the things that we can control. Focus on the things that we can control. For example, I think if it's beyond your control, uh, I mean, if you are not the authorized person to talk about him or her about COVID-19, focus on the things that you can control for yourself. For example, in your case, focus on the things to make you feel safe, focus on the things to make you feel healthy.
So let's focus on what the things that we can control.
Control. Yeah.
Exactly. So if we feel so like if we stress out by people who are not wearing their mask or like clumsily ignoring health protocols, so we better like focus on ourselves, I think, and
Yeah.
also our family and how to
Yes.
protect them. Okay. Thank you so much, doctor. Okay, is there anyone who would like to ask the question? You can type on the chat box, or you can ask directly to Dr. Benny. Okay. So Dr. Benny, I have heard words, negative emotions, and sometimes we have so much energy, but then we have in the same time we have a negative emotions that hinder us to channel those energy to be more productive. Could you explain more about that, like the negative emotions?
Okay. So usually these negative emotions are those unpleasant emotions.
Mhm.
Usually these emotions can even affect the way we perform our usual activities.
Mhm.
For example, because of this emotion, you can't you were not able to go to your uh, job, for example, you were not able to go to work, for example, you were not able to study well because of this unpleasant emotion you are experiencing.
So, how about those negative emotions that we gain due to this pandemic? I think because sometimes we already experience about the Zoom fatigue. I think we are in the same boat, Dr. Benny. We could have like at least four Zoom meetings in a day, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's very overwhelming. So how we can overcome those negative emotions caused by Zoom fatigue, for example.
Yeah. What we do, in my case personally, what I do is to do some digital detox sometimes. We have the so-called digital detoxification. So meaning you can spend a day, for example, without using any gadget or without using gadget that is sometimes that could lead to stressful situations. For example, uh, although Zoom meetings are really essential, but I'm not sure. But I am sure you can find time to detoxify yourself using gadgets. That is one way.
Okay. Yes. I think it's very useful tips, Dr. Benny, because sometimes I will be trying to avoid using gadgets during the weekends, like avoid work during the weekends as much as I can.
Yeah.
But okay.
Look, we all deserve a break.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. So what
Uh,
would so what would you do for when you're taking a break, Dr. Penny?
Actually, I have my weekend. I have the so-called me time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do not forget your self-care regimen. For example, as much as possible, I do not want to answer work-related inquiries during my me time because that could help me maintain mental health. That could help me maintain my wellness. For as long as it's not emergency, for as long as not an immediate concern, I won't respond because I need that for my mental health, for my mental wellness.
Oh, yes. So I think I would like to invite all participants to type on the chat box. What would they do for their me time? For me, I would be watching my favorite artists on YouTube, uh, looking through their updates, any updates about them on Twitter, and also chocolate ice cream.
Okay.
I think my staff really aware that I like ice cream, and sometimes I will staff have a stash of ice creams on our office fridge, because I know it's watch Korean drama, playing computer games. What else? What would you do on your me time? I have set for the futures, learning new languages or playing an instrument. Hello, Stefan. Thank you so much for your answer. How about the other participants? PTW game. What's that? I'm sorry, I'm not this generation, so I'm quite behind. Okay, playing games, gardening. Yes, of course. Gardening is sometimes I have a friend. I think she has some mental health issues, and she found that doing gardening is some kind of therapy for her.
Actually, we have the so-called plant therapy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Actually, in the Philippines, we have the rise of the plantitos and plantitas.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
heard about
Have
that
you heard of
terms,
that?
Dr. Benny, from one of the participants from the Philippines when we did contact. Plantitas and plantitos. Could you explain more about that?
Yeah.
I think it was it is something that happening during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yes.
Ah, okay, okay.
More Filipinos were actually engaged to agriculture because of the pandemic. We have the plantito. When we said titos and titas in the Philippines, it's uncle or aunties.
Oh, okay. Uncle
Yeah.
and aunties, tito
Yeah.
and
So the
tita.
titos and the titas were really hoarding, saving different kind of plants. Yeah, and for them that's helpful. In a way that could release their stress. That's one way for them to relax.
Oh, very interesting. So what they used to plant during the pandemic? Is that more like staples?
Mostly ornamental plants.
Oh, okay.
Indoor and even indoor plants. Yeah, indoor plants.
It's like having I don't know. I don't know whether my metaphor would be correct, but I think sometimes if we're having a plant, it's also like having a pet, actually. But we don't have to like cleaning them, but just like, yeah. Okay, how about look up the sky from my room? Oh, yes, I think so. It's very relaxing, actually.
Why not?
When we see the sky full of the stars or a very high blue sky, it's very relaxing. And also cooking. Bu Ani Mariani said cooking, fishing. I think it's calming a vibe, I think, by fishing, because you will be so much passive and like accept everything that comes to you. And also going for a walk in nature, playing games, craft, decorative DIY items. Yeah, I think it's very interesting. And I when I did my PhD, Dr. Benny, I did a lot stress cooking during the final exams. So I would be cooking course for 10 people. That what much? That very much, indeed. So anyone would like to talk about their the way they cope for the stress or their me time? Maybe Adelia. Adelia said that she loved to dance hip hop or some K-pop choreography. Hello, Adelia. Are you here?
Yes.
Yes, Adelia. Could you tell us more about the way you do what you do during your me time?
Sometimes I practice some choreography in YouTube, like the new song or maybe K-pop choreography.
What is your favorite K-pop group?
There's so many, but I like the dance and some of the music maybe.
Okay, can you mention one K-pop group?
Um, maybe NCT.
Ah, okay, NCT. Okay, thank you so much. Lutfi. Hello, Lutfi. Lutfi PY.
Hello,
Hello. Hello, Lutfi. You mentioned about the game, PTW game. What's this?
it's acronym for pay to win games.
Oh, okay. Is it an online
Pay
game?
to win.
Yes.
Ah, okay. So, so you're doing this for your me time.
Yes, I usually do it. Though like most pay to win games, you must it's kind of not healthy if you do it, but uh, it help you to get friends. So I think like the race is toe to toe together. I think that's what it is. Pay to win.
Thank you so much. I received no new knowledge today from Dr. Benny and also from you. Thank you for sharing. And also, I would like to ask one more from the participants, from Natalia Farbarova. Hello, Natalia.
Hello.
Hello. You said that you would like to going for a walk in nature and playing games, craft decorative, and also DIY items. Would you like to
Yeah,
share more about that?
it's most comfortable for me to just go out, be quiet, disconnect from all of the social media, from all of the influence. And what's completely the best is crafting, small decorations or maybe some knitting or using glue and putting some seasonal decors or stuff like that. This like very, very detailed work makes my mind very clear.
Thank you so much for sharing that. May I know where you're from, Natalia?
From Czech Republic.
From Czech Republic. Thank you for
Yes.
joining us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so there are also questions from Adeline from the La Salle University. So, Adeline, would you like to ask your question directly to Dr. Benny? Adeline, are you here? Oh,
Yes, I'm here.
okay, sure. So, would you like to ask your questions directly to Dr. Benny?
So, as a psychology student, I heard about toxic positivity in my theories of personality class, and so I was wondering how do I give a positive advice to a friend without being toxic, without disregarding his negative emotions that he is feeling right now.
Yeah, that's a good question, Adeline, from the LSU. That's a good question. First thing, we do not invalidate the feeling or the emotions of that friend. Do not invalidate that. We have to recognize that this pandemic has different impact uh, from each and every one. So when you talk to that friend, do not invalidate the feelings. Do not tell him not to cry or her. Do not tell him or her not to cry. Do not tell him not to get mad. Just validate the feeling. Just validate the feeling because this these feelings are the emotions that the the person is currently experiencing.
Thank you very much.
So more like showing sympathy, I think, Dr. Benny.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. So we have two more questions. The first one is from Deviana. Deviana, would you like to ask your questions directly or should I read your question? Hello? Okay, I think I can read her questions. Dr. Benny, do you have any idea how to cope with severe mental health symptoms? Because that you have already said before, if someone lives in an abusive household, but at the same time, she got bored or they got bored with the usual me time like Netflix, watching Netflix, painting, self karaoke, and etc. And they can go outside due to the pandemic.
Yeah,
So
you know what? It is also important you do something that is it's like experimental. It's like a experimental. For example, one particular example is that what we experience in the Philippines, as I've said earlier, the rise of the plantitos, and that is something. It's not new, but more people are being more interested of planting and repotting plants, just like that. So now in your case, maybe you can experiment some ideas, some good ideas on how for you to avoid boredom during the pandemic, and make sure those ideas are something healthy.
okay, thank you so much. So there's another question from Emanuela. Uh, Emanuela would like to ask Dr. Benny, what do you think about toxic productivity? When
Yeah.
you get very anxious and where you're resting because you feel like you're supposed to do something.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I already mentioned that earlier. It is very important that you have to recognize that it is okay not to be okay. When you feel anxious, when you feel stressed, recognize it. Yes, I am stressed. Yes, I am anxious, but do not get stuck on it. Remember, we are not uh, superheroes. We don't have that special that supernatural power. So all of us can experience anxiety, can experience stress. So you have to recognize that it's okay not to be okay sometimes. You have to recognize that. That's one.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Benny. Okay, Natalia, would you like to ask your questions directly?
Yes, thank you. I would like to ask about when we obviously see that someone is in a difficult situation, going through something, and maybe we personally have been in the same situation, is it good to mention it? That does it help the person to feel that he's being understood, for example, or shouldn't we do this comparison?
Okay, I think we have, yes, thank you. That's a good question. That's a good question. And sometimes we have the tendency to compare it the way we cope, but we have to consider that coping mechanisms effective, uh, not all coping mechanisms are effective to everyone. So
Yes.
meaning, for example, in my case, taking taking a walk could be effective, but for some, it's not. Yeah. So let us avoid that. I think that's a good question. Let us avoid that telling our own story that to the point that you are already dominating. Yeah, to the point that you are already dominating the conversation. Take note that you are there to help a friend, that you are listening to help a friend. So do not dominate the conversation. As much as possible, most of the talking will be coming from him or her.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Natalia, for the questions, and thank you, Dr. Benny. Do we have more questions from the participants? You can just raise your hands or turn on your microphone and ask your question directly to Dr. Benny. Okay. Okay, so Dr. Benny, I think I will have one last question from me. I've been talking too much. Dr. Benny, so which would be more effective, like drugs, medications, or therapy consultations if you would like to cure the mental illness?
Yes, Doc, that is another good question. And then again, that depends on the mental disorder or the mental illness the client or the person is experiencing. There are some disorders that talk therapy, psychological treatment is more effective than drug treatment. But there are some disorders that needs medication.
So yeah, so the treatment would be like drugs, medications, and drugs treatment. Okay, thank you, Dr. Benny. I think we don't have more questions. So, oh, okay, Stefan. So the medications provided by nature will be my answer. Stefan, could you share more about this?
I would like to say plants that are in nature that can provide mental health positivity, like they did with medicine people in the small groups in Africa, for example, India. They had the knowledge of curing people. I'm not a fan of the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
Because
Yes.
that's based on capitalism. They need sick people to make money.
Okay, thank you so much, Stefan, for sharing your thoughts and also opinions. So, okay, so I think Stefan would be the last person who asked questions. Dr. Benny, thank you so much. So it will mark our question and answer sessions. Thank you so much, Dr. Benny, for very inspirational lectures, and also thank you for all the participants for your active engagement with during the discussions. And I would like to return this virtual microphone to Oriza.
Thank you very much, Dr. Benny Soliman, for the excellent and very inspirational lecture today. And thank you as well to Dr. Octavianti Duwahirini for moderating this insightful session. Please give applause to our speaker and moderator by using the Zoom reaction feature. Let me show you how. Please give applause to our very insightful session today. Furthermore, we would like to present a certificate awarding to both our speaker and our moderator. This is the certificate presented for Dr. Benny Soliman as the speaker for today's guest lecture. And next, this is the certificate presented for Dr. Octavianti as the moderator.
Thank you so much.
Once again, thank you very much to Dr. Benny Soliman and Dr. Octavianti Dwiwahirini for your availability on today's guest lecture series. Before we end our session today, we invite all of our participants, as well as the honorable speaker and moderator, to take a group photo together. To all participants, please open your cameras. Okay, to all participants, please open your camera, and I will start counting when everyone is ready. Okay, is everyone ready? Since we have 3 slides, please wait until, please keep on smiling until I finish counting. Okay, is everyone ready? Okay, for the first slide, 3, 2, 1. Thank you. And for the second slide, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. And last, for the third slide, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you very much once again to our honorable speaker, Dr. Benny, and our moderator, Dr. Octavianti, as well as all participants for today. Now, we have finished.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Doctor. Then for the participants, please fill the feedback form through the link bit.ly/feedbackgls that you can also see on the Zoom chat room. The deadline for filling the feedback form is 1 hour after we finish with this session. We want to remind you, the participant who will get the stamp is the participants who come on time, join the event until the end, and also fill the feedback form. Finally, we have reached the end of today's guest lecture series, and we sincerely apologize for any mistakes we may have made in being the master of ceremony as well as the comedy. Thank you very much once again to Dr. Benny Soliman, Dr. Octavianti Dwiwahyurini, and all participants for their attention and cooperation. We would like to inform you that tomorrow we will have 2 parallel guest lectures. The first one will be presented by Dr. James McGregor from the University of Sheffield and Dr. Warma Dewanti from ITS. The topic will be related to SDGs number 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Next, the second one, we have Associate Professor Faisal Ibrahim from University Putra Malaysia and Dr. Ari Bahtiar from ITS as our speakers. The topic is also about SDGs number 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. I, Oriza, as MC, bids farewell. Good afternoon, and we will see you again tomorrow at the GLS on SDGs. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Ariza. Thank you, Dr. Benny.
Okay,
Stay safe.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank
once
you, Dr.
again,
Benny.
thank you, Dr. Benny Soliman. Thank you, Dr. Octavianti, and all participants. And we will see you again on tomorrow. And allow me to end this chat in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.